Law enforcement officials throughout Southern California said they do not plan on arresting people or issuing fines to those who do not comply with the state's new late-evening curfews, which were ordered to begin Saturday amid a surge of coronavirus infections. Instead of incarceration or fines, the region's largest law enforcement agencies said they plan to work with residents in educating them on the public health rules and are asking for people to voluntarily comply. Throughout the pandemic, the Orange County Sheriff's Department has taken an education-first approach with regard to public health orders, Sheriff Don Barnes said in a statement posted shortly after Governor Gavin Newsom announced the new public health order. The order applies to 90% of the state's population, covering all counties under the state's purple tier of restrictions, which includes Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. Under the order, which begins Saturday, most non-essential work, movement and gatherings of people are to stop between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. However, to keep resources available for other emergency calls, Barnes said, his department will not send its deputies to enforce these restrictions, particularly if the call is solely about a lack of face covering or social gatherings. Riverside County Sheriff's deputies also will not respond to calls for service in calls about masks and social distancing, said Sheriff Chad Bianco, to ensure constitutional rights are not violated and to limit potential negative interactions and exposure to our deputies. Bianco also urged its residents to comply with Governor Newsom's orders. Bianco's department was slapped with an $18,000 fine earlier this week for violating the state's COVID-19 regulations at one of its jails in French Valley, which is where a sheriff's deputy contracted the coronavirus and eventually died. The department is appealing the fine. In Los Angeles County, where on Thursday health officials announced a record-breaking 5,031 new COVID-19 infections, the highest daily number of the pandemic so far, law enforcement echoed similar statements of voluntary compliance. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva said his department is also focused on educating residents and asking for voluntary compliance. He added that deputies could be asked to enforce the new rules as an extreme last resort. Though the department plans to respond to complaints about social gatherings that are out of compliance, its patrol deputies will not pull people over or cite people for simply driving or walking amid the curfew hours. An LAPD spokesman said he expects officers to respond to COVID-19 related calls with a similarly selective approach. When stay-at-home orders were first issued in March, Los Angeles city officials encouraged people to comply and educate one another on the new rules, reserving enforcement to more serious situations.